What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Lieutenant Skits, and welcome back to War Thunder, and welcome to the P-51 Mustang. This is the first officially named variant of the Mustang. However, the A36 Apache was actually built into one of the first models of the Mustang, so I guess you could count the A36 as another Mustang? I'm not sure, but this is the first American model of the P-51 Mustang. And rather than the six 50 caliber machine guns that the D variants have, as you see later on in Tier 4, this one actually has 4 Hispano Mark II cannons with 500 rounds of ammunition over 4 guns. Now, this plane has received a lot of hate throughout the War Thunder community as being a very bad aircraft, and to be honest, when I first started flying this thing out and tried to make a video on it, I thought the same thing. However, this is the match that changed it. We're flying over Krimsk, and we are fighting the Soviets with the Americans and the British, and I have just climbed out of the clouds at about 4,000 meters, and I'm currently diving in on an LA-5. So, first up, let's talk about the armament. 4 Hispano Mark II cannons. Something you're going to want to notice about how I use these cannons in the game is I do not spray and pray at all. See here, I use very short controlled bursts, dive out of the clouds, get a fireball on that LA-5, and first kill of the match. So when you first start out with the P-51 and you have these Hispano Mark IIs, yes, you're going to want very short controlled bursts. The reason being, if you fire these guns for more than a second at one time, you're going to start overheating your guns very, very rapidly, and they'll start jamming up. You can see here, just very short bursts. Critical damage on this LA-5F on the tail doesn't seem to have affected it that badly, or maybe it has. Into the ground he goes, second kill of the match. And as you can see here, this is exactly how to fly the P-51. Boom and zoom all the way. I've just made 2 booms, gotten 2 kills with these very short bursts, and I haven't even used half of my ammo load. I've used just over a quarter of my ammo. So, the guns on it, when you first get them, are lackluster. However, well, not lackluster, that's a very bad term. They are very prone to overheating, and that was actually a problem in real life. The guns are historically accurate. If you read the first Mark II upgrade in the Tier 3 cannon, or the Tier 3 armament section of the modifications tab for the P-51, you will actually see an explanation on what was wrong. The Mark II Hispanos, when they moved over to belt feeding them, when they put them into the P-51, they found that the barrels were 1/16 of an inch too large for the shells, and that caused backflow gases to re-enter the barrel and caused very frequent jamming in the guns, which was a problem. However, it was fixed, and the cannon upgrades do, from what I've seen from the stats, they will make a difference once I get them. And something else I want to point out about my videos, if I ever do a first impressions on a plane, I do plan on doing an impression on the plane after I get it spaded. So, once I get this P-51 spaded, I will have a video on how well it performs once I've gotten all the upgrades. So, the guns are alright once they're used correctly. What about flight performance? Well, this is where we start getting into the poorer sections of the P-51. The P-51, the first variant, as well as the A36 features an Allison engine. And at the time in World War II, the Allison engine was actually very good. It was very popular among a lot of aircraft. The only problem was the difference between World War II and War Thunder is these pilots in World War II, they had hours to climb up to altitude and get ready to boom in on targets. So the Allison engine was alright there. In War Thunder, however, you have minutes to climb up to altitude and get ready to boom in on targets. I was about to go head on with this P-39, but it has a 37mm anti-tank cannon. I'm not about to go head on with that, so give him a short burst to kind of discourage him, and then move away, head back after the P-39K. Again, you can see here just very, very short bursts. I never fire for more than about half a second. And unfortunately, I am using air target belts. I might switch over to tracer belts or omnipurpose, just because it has a tracer round, but as you can see here, the air target belts have been very effective when you get your lead right and when you actually hit the target. So what are the problems with the Allison engine in War Thunder? Well, for one thing, as you can see by my engine temperatures, it does heat up very rapidly under WEP. But just pulling it off WEP or even pulling it back to 0% throttle will get the water to cool down very quickly. Get some good hits there on the left wing, critical of the right wing, take off his wingtip and his aileron, and I'm more than happy to turn fight with a P-39 that doesn't have an aileron. But he J's out, he knows when he's lost. Good pilot, knows when the battle is over. Now, you'll see here the water is cooling down very rapidly under 0% throttle, but watch the oil. I went down to 0% throttle at about a minute and 50 seconds, and it's going to take 20 seconds to cool down about 2 degrees. It was at 97 degrees when I hit 0% throttle, and yeah, it took about 30 seconds to get down 3 degrees. Now imagine the amber point, the maximum amber temperature for the P-51's oil is 94 degrees. Imagine trying to get down 6 degrees or more when you have a timer. Yeah, it's going to take a minute plus to get down to 94 degrees. That's a problem. I'm not quite sure if it's historically accurate, however, I have heard from other War Thunder YouTubers that it isn't, and it's a problem in War Thunder. So that's something Gaijin's going to have to fix, and something we'll just have to get used to. Now, another issue with the Allison engine is the P-51's climb rate. You will not be able to climb at more than 10 degrees from takeoff until about 1,300 meters. Once you hit about 1,300 meters, you will start to lose speed at a 10-degree climb. Reminder, this is with WEP running here. If you WEP constantly at 15 degrees, you will not gain speed. Between takeoff and about 1,300 meters at 10 degrees, you will gain speed up until about 1,319 kilometers an hour, and once you hit 1,300 meters, you will start to lose speed. You'll lose speed very slowly, but you will still be losing speed. And that is a problem with an aircraft that demands altitude to be able to perform, as you've seen in this match here. However, it is doable. You can still do it. You just have to do a lot of side climbing in order to get the altitude that you need. So right now I'm just trying to get back to the runway. I've only got 49 rounds of cannon left. I'm going to let the other Mustang that's here in front of me, she's going to land first. He or she, I'm not sure, uses the female voice. And then I will land myself. Now what I want to show you here is the P-51 does have some great acceleration. It can get to speed very quickly, and it doesn't take very long for you to take off with the takeoff flaps. So, up in the air, just trying to get my speed up, trying to get some altitude, look for this last target, but the last target actually ends up finding us. Here comes a Yak-1B at altitude, and I'm caught at the disadvantage here. Fortunately, we do have a Mustang at altitude, and he's going to have plenty of time to get even more altitude on the Yak-1 before he gets there. Unfortunately, though, this player is the clutch for the enemy team, and he's going to clutch perfectly and take us both out. Quick spoiler alert, by the way. I'm still trying to gain altitude, I'm fresh off the runway, and I've already discussed the P-51's lackluster climb rate. This guy knows I'm not a threat right now. As long as he doesn't get under me and stay under me, he will be perfectly fine. All he has to do is stay above me, and he will be able to dominate me like I'm a prison bitch in the bathroom. This guy knows that he has the advantage, he just has to keep it. As long as he doesn't stay under us, he will be able to just boom and zoom us, and we will not be able to catch him because of this early model Mustang's terrible climb rate. And this is another thing I've noticed about the Mustang, is that it likes to wobble a lot if you force it into a sharp turn very quickly. I'm not sure what that's all about, but it doesn't happen all the time. And that's something else I like about the Mustang. It has some pretty good turning energy retention. Just take a quick clip over here at the Yak. I'm more than happy to go head on with a Yak with only one cannon, and I believe it's 230 cals versus 420 millimeters on the Mustang. I'll more than happily head on that, especially if it means we win the match, even if I lose my plane. Just diving back in on the Yak 1, I've got the altitude advantage on him, I've just got to try to keep it. But he pulls up and pulls a beautiful loop to avoid my shots. I'm just trying to keep my speed up so I can hopefully outrun him, but he's got speed on me from a dive he pulled previously, so loop it over, try to get under him, try to just pull him over the airfield's AAA, and he gets a clip in, takes my aileron right out, and I smash into the ground. So, beautiful work from this Yak 1 pilot. He pulled a perfect clutch match, and he just took out two Mustangs pretty much effortlessly without taking very much damage. So, results for that match: first place for the team and 1 death, Fighter Rescuer Professional ×2, Shadow Strike Streak ×2, Win Streak ×3, and the best squad. 33,250 Silver Lions, 1,975 mod research, that gets me the fuselage repair, and 3,555 RP into the A36. And I'm literally 35 RP away from unlocking it. So the first P-51, it is kind of lackluster stock, and I don't know how it's going to be spaded, but I imagine it will actually be pretty good. Once I get those cannon upgrades and some performance upgrades under this thing, I do think the War Thunder community is a little harsh on this plane. It doesn't seem to be that bad if you can get altitude. If you side climb it, it is actually not a bad plane. The cannons especially, as long as you're careful with them and don't spray and pray, you will do some massive damage with these Hispanos. But anyways, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed. Please like if you did, comment what you'd like to see next, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and as always, please remember, normal is overrated, and I will see you all later.